Hey folks, I'm attorney Roger P. Foley, and I'm going to go back in time right now, a long time ago, when I was in 5th grade or 6th grade. I can't remember. I don't know, what are you, 10, 11? And I had a babysitter. And I don't remember the babysitter's name, but the babysitter lived on Smith Street, S-M-I-T-H Street in Central Islip, New York. That's where I grew up. And my babysitter was a nice woman. The family was very nice. They were very kind to me. And I did something horrible. Something that I'll always regret. I stole from them. I stole from my babysitter. I don't know how many times I did it. I would say somewhere between 6 and 12 times. And each time I'd get between $5 and $20. And I did it over a course of time. So each time I felt, hey, I guess they're not noticing. I don't know what I thought. I was young. No excuses. Right? I stole. That makes me a thief. Right? So I would take the money and I would go into town, and there was a store. I don't even know what the store was. It was some kind of, I don't even know. But all I know is in the back of that store, they had an asteroids machine, and I think it was Donkey Kong. And I wanted to play that. So I would take that money, I would go and get quarters. If I took $10, I'd get a roll of quarters for $10. And I'd play the shit out of some asteroids and Donkey Kong. I wish I could remember the name. I know that she had a son. I want to say his name was Edwin, but going back that far in time, I may forget. I think he was maybe a year older than me. I don't remember. But eventually I got caught, and eventually that nice woman was no longer my babysitter. And who knows, I don't know how we had a babysitter. We were on welfare and, had our lights and gas turned off frequently, and got my clothes from the Salvation Army. I guess government assistance somehow paid for a babysitter. I don't know. Anyway, thinking back to that time, I am remorseful. I would never steal from another person at this point in my life. I wasn't always who I am, but these experiences make us who we are, right? I don't know. I don't advocate stealing. I definitely don't. I represent lots of people who steal things as being a criminal defense attorney. But I wish if I could go back, if I could find that lady. I might even post this on the Central Islip website, because the lady would be able to tell more information and all that. And if she did, I'd honestly, I'd gladly send her a check for the inconvenience I caused and for just being a dumbass, for stealing. But the reason I bring this up is in the last 2 weeks or so, I started going online. I started looking at arcade games, Asteroids, Tron, Donkey Kong, games that I wanted to play, but I didn't have any money, except when I stole from the babysitter. Then I played the shit out of it. That's so horrible to say, but it's just true. Like, I was a kid, no excuses. I knew right from wrong. There's nothing that I could ever say in opposition to that. I knew right from wrong, but I stole, and it was wrong. It'll always be wrong. But I remember walking up there and the thrill of being able to play Asteroids. I don't know why that game had me mesmerized, but to this day I'm still mesmerized by that game. I recently was in California, and we rented a Airbnb, and it had asteroids. Man, everybody else went to sleep. I was down there, you know, like zooming around, avoiding the asteroids, shooting things up, and having a great time. But it made me remember, you know, it made me remember where I came from and the person that I was versus the person I am now. And last night, I told my wife, hey, I'm going to go look at this arcade game. You want to go? And I went, and the in-laws went. And we drove over to Stewart, and there was this nice guy, and he had a tabletop arcade game. You know, nothing super fancy, but, you know, very good condition. I ended up buying it. But before we even took the trip over, my wife kind of said, hey, what's going on? Like, seemed like you kind of have an infatuation with the arcade games all of a sudden. And I said, you know, honey, I think everything, I can't speak for other people, everything about me relates to my past in some way, right? So in this case, I didn't have it. We couldn't play it. I mean, I wasn't a guy that when Atari came out that we got an Atari right away. We got Atari a couple of years later. And I was still excited by that, that. But I didn't have. And now after all these years, getting the education, being an experienced criminal defense and personal injury attorney, I can go buy something. So I went out and bought this. It's like a tabletop, you cleaned out the garage and gonna make a little game room. I got the ping pong table set up, and I'll probably, get a foosball table, and I'll tell you the foosball story later. Because again, everything relates to being a child and the memories, the good times, the bad times, the in-between times. I think it really does affect the decisions that I make. I can't speak for other adults. But I ended up going out and buying this tabletop arcade game, and it's got all the Pac-Mans, and it's got Donkey Kong, and it's got Galaxy or something like that, and all these different old arcade games from the 80s. And it just, it's a memory. I don't know why. I just feel a need to buy it. I feel a need to find that Tron game and the asteroid games and play them and put them in my garage and make like a little arcade. I don't know. Maybe I'll sneak out on, Christmas morning before Santa comes and start playing the games. But it's weird how our childhood affects us, how it motivates us. I've told the story a bunch of times about not having much. This is another extension to that story. I didn't have much. Again, no excuses for stealing from that kind lady. And the whole family was nice from my recollection. Again, I think they had a son, Edwin, I think, maybe. Kills me that I can't remember. But maybe someone will see this on the CI post and they'll find that lady, that kind woman, and maybe she'll reach out to me. And if she does, I'll know who she is, and I'll definitely send her a check. Maybe a long, it might take it a bit of years to do that. My God, God rest her, God bless her. I hope that she's alive, and somehow she sees this crazy video that I'm making as I'm driving to court. Anyway, I'm attorney Roger Foley. Random story. Take it easy. God bless y'all. Merry Christmas.